yeah, just give it some
All
pretty
right,
good whack.
buddy.
Yes, sir.
We are live at Harvest Bible Chapel,
Awesome.
the Pondless Waterfall. So go ahead and tell us what we're doing here.
All right, so what we got going right now is we have the excavation done, 8 foot by 8 foot, 3.5 feet deep. We're going to be putting in 16 of the individual blocks, or actually 8 of these double stack units. Each one of these, the way these are designed, they create a structural void space underground. So this is going to be filled with water. Around that is going to be an impermeable barrier. It's going to be an EPDM rubber membrane. That's actually going to hold the water in place. So what we have double stack of this, so 64 gallons. We're going to have a total of 1,000 gallons inside of this tank. The reason we went with 1,000 gallons, it's a little bit overkill. The waterfall is only going to the top of that berm right there. The reason we went with 1,000 gallons, very, very simple, is they don't have water out here. So for them to truck water a quarter of a mile away, all the way over here, it was going to be impossible for them to come in here and trench in and put in a water line for us. So what we decided to do, let's oversize it. I did some evaporation calculations to figure out how much water is going to be lost on a daily basis. It's going to be around 40 to 50 gallons per day is going to be lost. We have a 1,000-gallon tank.
Yeah, how big is the pump that we're using?
The pump that we're putting in is a 12 PM.
Show me that.
The pump is buried in the back of the truck. All right.
Hold on. I gotta talk to the mic. This is our first ever live broadcast.
Yeah, awesome.
Aquascape.
So here is our pump. Here.
So how much gallons per hour will this flow?
This is going to give us about 10,000 gallons per hour.
Okay.
So I actually need a knife for this,
Don't worry
probably.
about opening. That's
All
okay.
right.
'Cause we're live. Here's the goal. We are starting. What time is it now? Like 7?
Today, or right now, it's about 7:45.
Okay.
Yep.
So let's introduce ourselves to these guys.
All right.
So I built this wall for my church 2 years ago.
With Michael
With
on his
Michael.
first day.
Yes. The water because you got the mic.
All right.
Michael Downs, you are 22 years old, correct?
Yes.
You just graduated. Yep. You're looking for a career. You're not sure what the heck you want to do because you're 22.
Yep.
Right? And so you helped me 2 years ago build this wall, right?
Yep.
So you were an intern then, and we worked our butts off to do it. And when I built this waterfalls, I should be talking close to the mic. Here I'm talking about these guys talking close to the mic. When I built this retaining wall, I wanted to build a waterfall. So 2 years later, we're back here to build waterfalls. We came out here. They did the excavation for us. We got Dylan Lockwood. Come here, Dylan.
Okay.
Dylan is an 18-year-old. He's not the sharpest tool in the shed. Doesn't want to go to college. Reminds me of someone that I know. And so I asked him to come blow off school today, and he's blowing off school. And then I got Jeff Donaldson out there too. He's the pastor's son. He's out here as slave labor. So we're going to pay these guys. But we've got Ed, the experienced guy, me, the semi-experienced guys. Unexperienced, and a little experience with this 2-year internship. So go ahead. We're going to finish this job up hopefully by 5 o'clock today. It's going to be a 1,000-gallon.
1,000-gallon rainwater capture system.
Yep.
So what we're going to do, like I was talking about with that pump, we're going to lose about 50 gallons per day. We have a 1,000-gallon tank, so that's going to give us several weeks of water loss.
Yep.
Slowly going down here in Chicagoland area. We're going to probably get some more rain that's going to come in, and that will replenish it. If they do need to top it off, maybe July, August, they can do that. But, so what we want to do right now, we have excavation completed.
How big was the hole?
8 foot by 8 foot, 3.5 feet deep.
And why did we dig it that?
We went that deep, and it was because, well, the area that we have options with this, with our aqua blocks. These are 16 or 18 inches tall, 16 inches wide. We have a couple options. One of them is to get 1,000 gallons. We could have single blocks and have a much bigger footprint, but right here we didn't have the room. Yeah. The other thing that we wanted to do is we went deep. We went 3.5 feet. The pump is actually going to sit 4 feet below grade level. The reason we did that is we want this thing to run 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. So we have to get that pump down below the frost line, and that's going to allow us to run this thing all year long. We have some beautiful underwater LED lights, which is just going to make this thing pop during all year long.
This is Randall Road. There's the front side. People just coming and going through all day. That's why we designed it on this side over here. All right, so it's not even 8 yet.
Yep.
Let's go ahead and tell me what the process is going to be to get this thing done. What is the next step?
All right.
At the end of the day, we're gonna finish this up. We're gonna actually about 4 or 5 o'clock today. We're gonna show this water flowing. So what's the process to get there?
So the process to get there right now, we kind of split everybody up. Hop down in the hole, leveling everything out. I'm going to dig out the area for our pump vault. While I'm doing that, the guys are making the aqua blocks. So they're assembling the aqua blocks. That's going to give us that underground storage. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pull out any of the big rocks. We do have a lot of rock and gravel down inside of this excavation.
Yes.
I'm going to pull that out. But what I did was I knew that going into it. So I knew we were going to have a lot of rock. So what I did was I ordered the heavy duty rock pad material as our first layer. So that's going to be the base layer. It's a heavy duty, thick geotextile material. That's going to go over the entire excavation. We're then going to put a layer of our EPDM rubber on top of that. Then on top of that, we put another layer of the thinner underlayment to kind of create a sandwich. That's going to increase the load bearing capacity of the rubber liner as well as create protection for it. Then we're going to take all of these blocks. We're going to place them inside the rubber liner, and then we have a joint 6 to 8 inches all the way around that tank. We're going to take the liner, we're going to fold it up, and then we're going to backfill. You can see behind that pile of aqua blocks there, we have a bunch of the native soil that was pulled out. We're going to use that material to backfill around it, and it's going to put it under compression. The ways that these things are designed is to work under a load. That means you want to compress them. You want to have it packed with soil all the way around it to hold them nice and tight. The tighter we hold them, the stronger they actually are. So what you're going to actually see is just going to be this top section in this area here. And then we're going to cover that up with decorative river rock. And that's going to allow water to flow down through to get down into our pump.
How much volume does each aqua block
Each individual block, this is a stack of 2, is 32 gallons, so we have 64 gallons sitting here.
Right.
Got to tighten up some of these little joints. What we want to look for from a quality control standpoint, you don't want a lot of gaps and things in here, so we're going around with a little mallet and we're tapping those into position. There's a series of pins. Let's take a walk over here and see what the guys are actually doing. So you can see what Michael's doing right now. He's tapping those things in place. You can see these little pins right here. That locks everything into position. This is a modular design, so we could put these together in any configuration possible. There's actually a half block as well, so we could put these together in 32-gallon increments or 19-gallon increments. So we could make a 300,000-gallon tank if we desired. So we could put them together. It's nice and flexible. So what he's doing right now is creating that double stack. He's lining those things up. He's going to take a piece of wood to go across the top to create nice even compression. Now he's going to take that mallet. You can see it's tightening up all those joints. So start right there, work his way across, and make sure that that's nice and tight.
By the way, Ed could talk all day long. So this is fun doing our first live
Absolutely.
video. Why don't we show where the waterfall is going to go?
Take a walk over here. All right. So waterfall is going to start somewhere right up here. There's really no reason to go past this because that's going to be out of everybody's sight. So once we get all of those aqua blocks in position, we're then going to come in here and start dismantling this stone wall. Once we dismantle it, we're going to start carving into the soil to actually create the steps, a series of waterfall steps that we're actually going to come in. We have 2 waterfall spillways. So we have one 3-inch pipe. Those waterfall spillways have 2-inch connections. So what we're going to do is we're going to split it up. We're going to have 2 little falls coming together, and then it's going to get more and more volume as it works its way down. The nice thing about working with something like this, it increases that white water action as it crashes over all of those stones, and it creates more of a dramatic effect as it keeps going down. Got a lot of the guys honking at us over here. They're jealous because they're going to school. It's a gorgeous day out here. 75 degrees, sunny, can't beat it.
So we should be done by 4 or 5 o'clock. I'm
4 or
going to put
5
you on
o'clock.
the spot. This is a donation, but what would we sell this project for based on the specifications?
This would probably be, this is still a one-day project, but we're probably in the $10,000, $11,000 range.
I was thinking $10,000.
Yep.
So good.
Yep.
Show me that. Show me what other products we have, and then we'll get off this one.
All right.
I got the whole box truck.
Yeah, it's on its last legs here, I think. So we have our 3-inch pipe. This is going to deliver all the water up to the top of our waterfall. So what we're doing here is we're working with flexible PVC. I know a lot of guys are going to use rigid PVC. The problem with rigid PVC, you got lots of bends, angles, turns, elbows, all that stuff. All of that stuff, if you know your pump hydraulics, that puts back pressure on your pump. So what we want to do is we want to have nice wide sweeps. It keeps the head pressure low, so we get the entire volume of that pump, everything that it's designed for to give us the optimum amount of water flow. So that's our pumping system. Here's our EPDM rubber membrane. This is a heavy-duty 45 mil fish-safe EPDM rubber, which actually stands for ethylene propylene diamonomer polymer, but it's a very durable material. It's designed, guaranteed to last for 20 years. The only thing that will actually break it down is UV radiation. We are going to bury every square inch of it. You will not see 1 square inch of that rubber membrane when we're done. So we're going to get 50 plus years out of that membrane.
And the geotextile?
The geotextile, this is our heavy duty stuff. So this is, I mean, just look at that. I mean, this is a thick, heavy duty material. This is going to go over the excavation. This is going to create a nice padding. It's going to create a bedding for the bottom, increases the structural rigidity of the system, but it's going to protect our liner. So we want to go through all the measures necessary to protect everything inside of there for many, many years to come. We have our waterfall spillways over here. So this is going to deliver the water. We have 2 of these, and that's because we have 10,000 gallons per hour. These are designed for 5,000, 6,000 gallons per hour piece. So we have 2 of them. We also have our ion gen system. The ion gen is going to make sure that we don't have any string algae on this. So this is a copper ionization system. What it's going to do is it's going to produce copper ions. We basically have a little electronic probe that goes down into the water.
Yep.
There's an electrical charge. There's an electrical charge that goes between them. Mm-hmm. There's an electrical charge that goes between, and what that does is it wants to take the copper from one, it wants to jump across to the other probe. But what we're doing is we're going to have it in flowing water. So as those little copper ions are trying to connect over to the opposite side, they get swept away in the water velocity. What they do is they kind of circulate around inside of the system. Copper is toxic to algae. So it's going to get biologically absorbed by any of the algae that's in there, and it's going to knock it out. You won't have any algae. The beautiful thing about this is it does have a little control pad on here. So that allows us to increase or decrease the amount of electrical flow that's going to those probes. The more electricity going into it, the more copper ions that are produced. So if you have an algae problem, you turn it all the way up to 10, it's going to blast a bunch of that stuff out there, and you're going to see that algae literally die within days. And then you can turn it back down.
Yeah, and of course there's no fish in here. If you had fish in there, you would want to test the water to make sure you don't have. But if there's algae in the water, there's probably not going to be copper because it gets absorbed by the algae, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay. So listen, Ed could talk all day about this stuff, and this is our first. Someone said that it's a little staticky. This is our first live broadcast. We're just trying this stuff out. I got a little mic. Hopefully this is working. We'll be back at the end of the day, 4 or 5
Very
o'clock.
professional looking.
Yeah, and I guarantee you we're going to have problems, and I guarantee you what else?
It's going to be finished.
It's going to be finished. That's right. Hey, I'm very excited about having these 3 young men out here. Michael's a hard-working guy. Been with me for 2 years, but trying to figure out what he wants to do with the rest of his life. And these 2 kids, Dylan and Joel, are both not necessarily thinking they want to go to college, and so we're going to give them a chance to actually have a working interview with our team out here. And this is my church. This is a place that I love to come to. I've seen this wall. I rebuilt this wall because it was falling apart, and I always wanted a waterfall. So this is an exciting day for me as the owner to be out here. I don't always get out in the field with these guys. Hopefully this is working. I can't wait to actually get the feedback. If you have questions, ask them on this video, and we'll answer them at 4 or 5 o'clock when we do the follow-up.
All right, sounds good.
Good job, Eddie.
All right, man.